We're back. Finally, it seems like Mike has been in La La Land for fucking forever, and now he's back in the beautiful studio of Rhode Island with the bar behind him. You know, Mike, it's been a while since we're back to like normal. It's 9 o'clock. It's Wednesday, and it's the Mike and Mish show. What up, dude?
What is going on? Feels good to be back. I was in a very hot barracks room forever, and now I feel like I am in the Antarctica in my basement with the AC in here. It's crazy. It was so hot in that damn barracks. It was ridiculous.
You were putting out some serious mental institution vibes when you were sitting in that room the last couple weeks, and here you are, man. There's a lot to talk about. We got one of the biggest events, one of the biggest homegrown events in BKFC history, which is it absolutely guts me that we're not down there for this, dude. Fucking goddamn it. Like, it just seems like every year the military gets in the way of one of the, you know what I mean? Like, I love serving. We've been doing it for decades now. And it's like, man, every year now, the BKFC puts on a banger of a card right when we have annual training season going on. And God damn it, this one, top to bottom, from the first fight of the night to the main event, there is bangers all the way up. This card from start to finish, it fucking kills me, man.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bummer, but hey, whatever. We're here. We're going to be joined by King Mo Lawal, who is, I mean, do I really even need to explain who it is? This guy's going to come on here. He's going to give us his keys to victory, King's keys to victory.
The King's keys to victory. We're going to do a little new thing tonight with the King, man. He likes to talk shit, and he likes to share his knowledge, because the dude is like an encyclopedia for combat sports knowledge. And you know what? It's crazy because how busy he is. You know, he is a retired fighter, but he is constantly training. He's constantly training people. He's coaching at Coconut Creek American Top Team. And right now, when we talk to him, he's out in Denver coaching somebody. I sent him a message today and I said, are you familiar with all 6 fighters in the title fights tomorrow night for BKFC 62? If not, we can send you some info. He fucking knew them all. I'm like, how do you have time, dude? Like,
Yeah.
how do you possibly know all these fighters? And like, he starts sending us little tidbits of information about each fighter. I was like, God damn, dude, that is crazy. Can't wait to talk to him tonight. We should shout out our sponsors real quick before we get into things. Let's
Yeah,
just
let's
do that
do it.
right now. We'll start off with our first and foremost. We got the bucked up supplements, bucked up energy, bucked up nutrition, bucked up apparel. You go on to buckedup.com, use Mike and Mish 20 and buy yourself a bunch of stuff. The supplements are fantastic. I had a conversation with somebody at work. It might have been the Sergeant Major, actually, that's tuning in right now. He asked me what I'm taking. I'll tell you right now what I'm taking. I'm taking BCAAs. I'm taking collagen peptides. I'm taking protein, 6-point creatine, woke AF pre-workout. I am on a full everyday regimen of BKF of bucked up supplements, and I feel great. The gym has been good to me. I have been good to the gym. So get your asses over to buckedup.com. Use the promo code Mike and Mish 20 and get yourself some stuff. Right, Mike?
Do it now. Dynamic Life, sexual health, weight loss, and anti-aging. Retake control of your life by reaching optimal health. Visit www.livedynamic.com. It's the only online platform where you can become a patient in under 20 seconds. Also, check out their Instagram page at Live Dynamic. That's LIV Dynamic on Instagram. And what do we have next, Kyle? I don't think we're going to end that with a boom.
You know what? We have a new sponsor, and we haven't really quite nailed down what we're going to say about this, but it is the Rasha. The Rasha revolution is here. The Rasha is designed to elevate your mindset to an elite, high impact, high performance championship level. They are sponsors of this show. They are sponsors of the BKFC, and they are repped heavily by one of the best champions in BKFC history, Christine Faria. It is a crazy experience with the Rasha. Mike and I tried it out in California,
LA.
LA. We're happy to welcome them aboard as new sponsors of the show. Get over to www.therasha.com, check out their website, and also get over to Instagram at Rasha Revolution and follow them. Click on their link tree, check out all their stuff. It's pretty interesting, crazy stuff, right, Mike?
Yeah. And if anybody heard our story before, which we'll have to put into a nice little package so we can tell everybody about it. When we did the Raja, we were like, this is going to be bullshit. Then we went in there, we did it, and we left, and we were a bit skeptical. And I tell you, we had one of the best days of our entire lives. And I was like, I kept saying all day, I was like, that's going to be the Raja, right? It's going to be the Raja.
Rasha.
Has to be.
Every time something cool would happen, Mike would look over and he'd be like, "The Rasha, it's the fucking Rasha."
That's not what this
I'd be
is.
like, "The fucking Rasha, it's got to be the Rasha."
Things are getting
Hey,
crazy.
shout out to everybody that's already in the comment section right now. We watched the press conference yesterday. We watched the weigh-ins today, and I gotta say, huge shout out to our boy. I saw him on the side of the stage escorting fighters up there for the weigh-ins today. It's good to see him back in action. Kevin Smith, rocking that forged Irish stout hat this afternoon at the weigh-ins. Looking good, my brother. I'm glad you're out there. And I know that he just said in the comments there, where the hell are you guys? Or where the fuck are you guys? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Kev.
Wouldn't you like to know?
I'm sorry, Kev, but the greatest podcast on the fucking planet, the number one bare knuckle podcast on the planet,
Pure bare knuckle all the time, baby.
Yeah. Can't be at all the events. Unfortunately, we have signed the dotted line, and you know we sort of owe the government.
Yeah, the government owns the government owns us. And I'll tell you, I just got home about 3 hours ago. I was on orders for 2 weeks, so I just got home, still on orders. Got a few days to go. Got a big audit to do, but I'm here right now with you to talk about the fights this weekend, and I am very happy about this card tomorrow night, man.
All right, hey. So here's the thing. we got a few minutes before we get into it with King Mo, with the
Yeah.
King's keys to victory. We're gonna cover all three of the title fights tomorrow night. But let's just talk a little bit about the card since we have a few minutes, dude. Did you watch the press conference? Did you watch the
Yep.
weigh-ins? Are
Yes, I
you all
did.
caught up?
I'm all caught up.
Thoughts on? Let's start with the press conference real quick, and we'll just wait to see how much time we have before King Mo pops into the waiting room. Thoughts on the press conference?
I thought the press conference was pretty good because, you know, I knew it was kind of going to be Brian Duran and Kai Stewart just back and forth because they got a lot of heat between those two. Um, you know, Kai has been the underdog constantly. People always betting against him, not because they don't like him, I don't think per se, but because I don't think that people believed in him. That's what I think. People just didn't believe in him, and he keeps proving people wrong time and time and time again. So he has a chip on his shoulder, rightfully so. And then you have Brian Duran, who's a guy who came in and he's like, "Hey, I didn't fight professionally until about 2 years ago, and I've been knocking people out cold since." His hardest test was Louis Lopez so far. We do know Kai Stewart did beat Louis Lopez. Coincidentally, they're both from the same area, Louis Lopez and Kai Stewart. And sometimes that math doesn't work. So tomorrow night, it's going to be the grinder, wrestler turned bare knuckle fighter against the powerful, come forward Brian Duran that just get that knockout power. So it's going to be a good fight, but they definitely do not like each other. They do not like each other.
What they have on their hands there are two charismatic, high level fighters, and they're both homegrown, like you said. 5-0 pro versus a 6-0 pro, and all 11 of those fights have been with the BKFC. How fucking cool is that? It's pretty awesome, right? Those two guys can sell a show alone, and I don't know if they have a lot of other homegrowns that can do that. Lorenzo Hunt can, and there's a few, but purely homegrown talents that can absolutely headline and sell a card without any kind of like UFC veteran or boxing great or anything like that. Kudos to those two guys. I will say this, and I don't want to fucking piss him off, but Jomi Escoboza, my friend, you have way too much charisma and too much personality to not let it go on the fucking stage.
Yeah.
Brian and Kai stole the show because they are the main event and they both have dynamic personalities. But so does he, and so does Jared. Jared's funny as hell. When we hang out with Jared Warren, whenever we see him, he's a funny dude. He's got dry sense of humor. He's funny, and he did let it go a little bit at the end there. But Jomi is a very interesting character. Says a lot of funny shit. Knows a lot of things about a lot of stuff, but he didn't let it go at all. It was like I was a little disappointed in those guys. They're gonna let it go in the ring tomorrow night, I'm sure. But you know what? Viral moments at press conferences really fucking push the business. You know what I mean? And I wish that they would have done a little more.
Yeah, they definitely do. They should have started talking shit at some point or said something, had something ready, key it up. Take a page out of Uncle Chael's book. That's what they got to do.
Yeah. And when Jomi comes on here, he lets go. He's funny, dude. He has a good time. He goes on other podcasts, does the same thing. You get to see his personality. But when he's on the mic, when the microphone's in his face at these events and stuff, I just wish he would just do that again. Like, just do that. Do that, man. It's fucking awesome. The Keith and Bloss thing, it was like surprising to me. I was like, oh,
Yeah, there's
I
a
think
little bit of heat going on there.
yeah,
Bloss is
you know what I think it is?
stunning.
I think Keith is hearing the rumblings like everybody's picking Bloss. Like if you watch the BK bets on the app.
They're back. I saw they did a show for this event.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, and like I see online people in comment sections and stuff. Keith is a fucking badass dude. Yeah, he's 40, but he was 4-0 last year with probably one of the best single years anybody's ever seen in the BKFC of their 6 years of existence. Has nobody's really put on from debuting in a fight of the year candidate to winning the title 3 fights later from a Mount Rushmore type fighter, Keith Richardson may be 40, but that dude moves just like Blas. He's got fast feet. He's got fast hands. He's got a little power. Blas might have more. We're going to hear what King Mo has to say about this, but maybe that's what it was. I think maybe Keith is just like, you know what? All these motherfuckers thinking that I'm done. I'm going to show them. And as soon as Blas put his fucking hand on him, he was like, don't fucking touch me. Don't touch. I'm not playing. Shit was crazy.
Yeah, Keith just has that natural killer instinct, and he's very laid back, or not even laid back. I think he's just, the guy who was in the military. He's got that military bearing. He doesn't really break. You could tell he got a little pissed, but he never really broke. I just think he's a very patient guy. He's a very trained guy. So I don't know. You want the beast's going to come out of the cage tomorrow. That's for sure. Blas, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, he's been doing pretty well in his career, but the thing is, Keith Richardson has a bit of experience in MMA. He's very powerful. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's going to be a good fight. I'm sure of that. So I'm curious to see, like you said, what King Mo has to say about this.
Listen, I've been rewatching all the fights from all the main event guys, all the 3 title fights, right? And Blas, what I could say about Blas is he has 4 minutes of bare knuckle experience in 4 fights. That's like, he doesn't have a ton of bare knuckle time, because if you watch all 4 of his fights, he ended all 4 of them within a minute of the first fucking round. And he did the exact same thing every fight. He very quick with it. It was like super quick footwork. He showed like very fast hands through combos and landed power. And like, you can't, I don't know. I rewatched all 4 of them and I can't really take too much out of it. That's why I can't wait to hear from King Mo, because what does a guy like him see? He did the same damn thing 4 straight times to 4 different people and ended them all in the first minute of the fucking fight. Now, Keith, on the other hand, goes in there, goes 5 rounds with Justin Scoggins, who's a fucking dog. His next couple fights were quick, right? Derek Perez and I can't remember the other one, but Reggie, he went in there and absolutely walked through like a legend. It was very
quick too. He did it pretty quick, and he looked like he did it very easily too, almost like he barely had to do anything. Cody Jenkins is the other person that you're thinking
Cody
of.
Jenkins, yeah. So yeah, it's a very interesting one. I went back and watched all the Duran fights and the Kai Stewart fights too. It's fun going back and watching them all, especially when we're 24 hours out from seeing all these guys scrap with each other. It's fucking awesome. So with that said, hey man, we have our guy out in Denver who's gonna bring in he's gonna run us through a new little segment here to talk about these 3 title fights that we're so excited about.
Yes, sir.
What do you say we bring him in?
Hey, I say we bring him in. Let's do it. Here we go. When we come back, it's King Mo with the King's Keys to victory, baby. Hey, what is up?
There he is. Hey, and by the way, before we start, King Mo, what up? This segment is brought to you by Turp House Farms.
That is correct. You see it right there, baby.
Yeah, right on your shirt.
Versus everybody.
What's going on, King?
Man, I'm chilling here in Denver. My guy from Vladikavkaz, Russia, Azamat Bokayev, is defending his LFA title on Saturday. So we came here early, weigh-ins tomorrow. So we're here right now.
Before you jumped on here, I was talking about how we're going to have you back on tonight. You're going to talk about the 3 title fights, right? So I said, you're so big. you know, coach at ATT, you travel, you do all this stuff. But I send you a text message and I say, "Hey, are you familiar with all 6 fighters in these three title fights tomorrow, or do you need anything?" You start sending us information back like you know every fucking one of them. I'm like, how does he possibly have time to know all these guys? Are you just like a all combat sports junkie? Is that what you are?
I love combat. I've been involved in combat sports since I was 18. Actually, 16 for wrestling. 18 when I first had my first fighter I ever cornered by the name of Jeff Lindsay from Oklahoma. So he fought Eves Edwards. I cornered him versus Eves Edwards, and I cornered him at King of the Cage 2 years later in like 2000 2001 versus Romy Aram. So I've been in this game for a while as a coach and athlete.
Well, let's do this. Mike, you want to bring up the poster with all them faces on it? We got this huge event coming tomorrow night in Hollywood, Florida. It's killing us that we're not down there to see this thing live, but you see it right there. 3 title fights, a vacant light heavyweight title fight, a bantamweight, and a featherweight belt on the line. You got 3 Miami guys over there on the right taking on 2 champs and the #1 contender. What we want to do with you tonight, King Mo, is we'll start with Jomi versus Jared.
Woo, it's a good one.
Man, they fought once before. I rewatched that first fight today just so I'm fresh. It's fresh in my mind. Dude, what are your thoughts on these 2 fighters, and what do you think each one of these guys needs to do to get this thing done tomorrow?
Okay, so before I remember the first time they fought, honestly, I thought Jomi did enough to win, but he looked kind of off a little bit. But for the keys of victory for this fight right here. Okay, so one thing that I noticed about Jomi Escoboza, he's very jab heavy with his right side. His left side doesn't throw. He doesn't throw much with that. So it leads me to believe that he's a converted southpaw. You know, his power hands in the lead. Warren, former kickboxer, he has a good straight left hand. He has good timing. He's very patient and relaxed. Jomi has quicker feet, and he has better movement. It's going to come down to if Jomi can keep moving and dancing around and landing this jab and landing this right hook and dancing and not getting timed, he can win this fight. You know, he reminds me of a bare knuckle Billy Joe Saunders on how he moves. But Warren, on the other hand, Warren has good timing. If Warren can settle down, and stay relaxed and time Jomi as Jomi throws his jab, he might be able to do something. You know, it comes down to who can implement their game plan at more of a consistent basis, because Jomi will not stop moving. You know, and it's going to come down to who can land that clean shot more often.
So that first time they fought, it's very fresh in my mind right now because I watched it today. For me, I couldn't believe that it was a unanimous decision because I really thought that Jared Warren won the first and the third round, and I thought Jomi won the fourth and the fifth. The second round was super tight. It could have gone either way. Jared was landing the more powerful shots, the more significant shots, but Jomi was the more busy one, like you said. But one thing I did notice that Jomi didn't do much behind the jab. He just kept throwing the jab. He didn't follow it with anything, and I think he kicks himself in the ass over that. So you think back on that one? The unanimous decision that's kind of a crazy call, right? That thing was pretty tight.
It was very crazy because I could have sworn like Jomi cut him, I believe, or Jomi had him swollen
under the eye. Yeah.
Yeah, and on top of that, Jomi, you're right. He does not throw much with his left, but I think it's because he moves better with the right hand forward. His defense is a little better. He's a little sharper, and he throws a quick jab. It's a spear, you know. But sometimes, like, you know, that's not enough to win fights. You might need a little more. But from what I saw, it was enough to win. But, you know, everybody has their own opinions. It's very subjective.
So Jomi was former champion over at BYB. He came over to BKFC, and he has a huge opportunity here to basically be the first to promotion champion here. What do you think that would do for him in his career?
I think it'll do a lot for his career. You know, it'll show that he's a true bare knuckle fighter. Now all he needs to do is go to BYB and beat their champion, and he'll be the Triple Crown winner. So he's a good fighter, man. Both men are good fighters. I kind of favor Jomi because I like his style, and I've been watching him longer. But at the same time, Warren's no joke. He could fight.
Absolutely. Jared's coach is in the comment section, says unanimous could be 3-2. I understand that, but what I'm trying to say is that second round, not one of those three judges gave that second round to Jomi. And when I rewatched it today, man, that thing was pretty goddamn close. It
was tight. It was tight.
It was real tight. So before we move on to the next one, which guy are you leaning towards for this one? Is it Jomi?
Well, for the boy, I've been fucking with Jomi for a while. I love his style, but I like Warren too. But I have more in common with Jomi because we're both down in Florida, and I've been watching him since his BYB days. So I just want it to be a good fight for everybody to watch. But I'm gonna lean towards Jomi because I like his style.
Both fighters, since they fought the first time too, look like they both have improved.
Yeah.
Jared Warren looked amazing against Danny Christie, and Danny Christie was kind of freaking smoking everybody overseas in London, and Jared went over there and made it. You know what they say at Shift MMA, Shift Combat, all work is easy work. So he went over there and made it look really easy. So very curious to see how that goes. The next title fight is a Cuban freestyle wrestler, 4-0 Alberto Blas, taking on longtime MMA veteran, Marine Corps veteran, 4-0 4-0 in 1 year with the BKFC, from debuting against Justin Scoggins in a Fight of the Year candidate to winning the title from Reggie Barnett 3 fights later. Thoughts on this fight, King Mo, and what do each one of these guys got to do to get the job done tomorrow?
Okay, so with Richardson, the champ, I know he's a stand switcher. He's very gritty. He has a lot of experience behind him. He's well conditioned, and he's very physical. I think for him, if he wants to win this fight, he has to use all his attributes and make this an ugly fight. Make it ugly. Pull his head, dirty box him. Crash into him. Pull his head down, throw an underhook, back him up, and smother him. Because I feel like Blas is the cleaner boxer. He has faster hands. He's very athletic. He's faster, I think, and he lets his hands go. And from a range, actually from mid-range to long range, he's actually more efficient than Richardson is. So if it's like a slow pace, boxing match for say, or a slow pace striking, the striking battle, I favor Blas. If it's like, remember Heathcliff? I remember that cartoon. It's my favorite cartoon growing up. Yeah, remember when Heathcliff would fight Spike? He'd fight Spike, and you see a cloud of dust. Yep. You see claws.
You see hands coming out.
Yeah. Now, if Richardson can implement that Heathcliff style of fighting, I think he'll break down Blas and could possibly stop him. But Blas is a sharpshooter, and I can see Blas catching Richardson coming in. Because speed. Richardson is very experienced, but one thing he cannot really prepare for is speed. He can prepare for strength, conditioning, everything else, but speed and good timing and an offbeat rhythm is hard to prepare for.
Well, what I see out of Blas, and I think you guys might agree with this, that kid might be the best athlete on the entire roster. He moves so fluently through. When he moves around, he's very smooth, super fast, super powerful, but he's a freestyle wrestler. Those guys, wrestlers are cut from a different cloth. He's a fucking grind. He hasn't had to show it in the BKFC yet, but I'm curious to see what he does in the clinch with a guy like Keith Richardson, because Keith can make it dirty, but he is a wrestler. You know what I mean? Blas hasn't had to show it yet. He's only been in the ring for 4 freaking minutes in 4 fights.
And the Cubans, a lot of them do the boxing school, so I'm pretty sure he boxed with other Cubans as well. They're great in the upper body, Greco-Roman clinch position, but at the same time, that's freestyle and Greco. Richardson's wrestle collegiate style wrestling, which is more of a grind. It's more in your face. It's more gutter. It's not as pretty as freestyle and Greco.
Yeah.
It's more draining. It's a grind. Yeah, it's a definite grind. It's more of a grind. So it comes down to if Blas can make this like a smooth, like if he can make this a smooth run on track, when you run on track, it's smooth. You could bounce and you could run the 400 real smooth. If he can do that, he's gonna win. But if Keith can make that back in the old days when they used to run on the horse track, it's full of mud and rocks. If he can make that track more like mud and rocks, but by implementing a strong pace and using his physicality on Blas, he can win this fight.
Yeah, I see. So with Keith Richardson, I mean, Richardson, we said already that he's got a whole bunch of experience in MMA. And I get it. This is not MMA, but like you said, he can dirty box. He can go in there. He has a 22-11 pro MMA record. So the guy's been in there. He has been in there with Daniel Strauss. He's beat Daniel Strauss. He's fought a fellow bare knuckle contender, Rusty Crowder, in MMA. And then he goes over to bare knuckle, and he starts off his career, like we said, with Justin Scoggins, and just to win the title, he fights a pound for pound great in Reggie Barnett and made him look like he didn't know what was going on. And it could have been a very off night, bad night for Reggie, but great night for Keith Richardson. And on the other hand, we have Alberto Blas. And Blas, although he has some great fights in BKFC, but he has that 3-4 MMA record. So the experience level is way lower in this. So I do think that does, like we said, you were talking about their wrestling skills and stuff like that. And if that comes into play, I do think that Keith has just so much more experience than Blas does, especially in such a high profile fight.
And one thing I must say that could be the difference maker, and it's gonna sound kind of like very not stereotypical, but prejudiced in a sense. But if you look at Cuban boxing and even Cuban wrestling, the way to beat them is with pressure and to try to outwork them. Because a lot of times you see the Cuban boxers go out there and they'll land shots, but then the guy that's facing them, the Mexican or the American that's facing them, will throw 5, maybe 8 times as many shots, and some might land, but some won't. And in the long run, you'll see the Cuban might have won the boxing match, but lost the fight and lost the decision because he might have got outworked, but landed the better shots. So my thing is, look out for if Richardson can keep his volume high and keep this an ugly fight, like the last fight, pretty style versus ugly style. You know what I'm saying? If Joby can keep it pretty and moving and not get touched, he can win. But I feel like if Richardson can muddy it up and impose his will with high volume and pulling the head down and touching the body, he can win this fight too. But if Alberto can keep his distance and time him and use his footwork to stay away from him and just touch him here and there, and they engage him and clinch him and slow him down to for the referee to break up, spread him apart, the call for the breaking the clinch, then he can just pick him apart.
Man, I wonder how this is going to go, because I was going to say this could be Keith's hardest fight yet, but his first fight against Justin Scoggins was an absolute all-out war. I wonder what Alberto Blas would look like in a fight that looks similar to that Justin Scoggins.
So here's the thing: 2 different types of athletes.
Yeah.
2 different types of school. One comes from a karate background. One comes from a freestyle wrestling / Cuban boxing background. Because if you're Miami and you're an athlete, combat sports athlete, you're training at a boxing gym, a Cuban boxing gym, so and you're not going to be there on the streets. So I'm pretty sure that if you look at him shadow box, you see him moving around, he moves like a seasoned boxer.
All right, man. Well, that one's. Can you believe? Are you surprised that Richardson's the betting underdog, being the champion, or are you not surprised because he is 40 years old? He's been around for a long time, and Blas is this young, up and coming, 28-year-old, stud athlete here.
Yeah.
Well, Boss is hot, so sometimes it's easy to go on who's a little hotter, and he's newer, fresher, looks more imposing. Him landing that back foot into the superhero, pose. That's like
Yeah.
that's something that stands out. So I'm not surprised that Richardson's the underdog, but I think that I think Richardson should be the favorite in a sense. But Boss has the tools to get the victory. They both do.
Now, in the main event tomorrow night, this one has so much heat behind it. It's been built up so well by these two fighters. These kids are legit, full-blown homegrown talent from the BKFC. Kai 5-0 in the BKFC champion. Duran 6-0, 6 finishes. Gets his title. He gets his shot at a title. What are your thoughts on these two guys individually? And go ahead and go from there. What does Brian Duran got to do to beat the champ?
Well, let me start off with Kai Stewart. Very high pace. I watched him train in the American Top Team a few days ago. High pace, high volume, pretty fucking strong. He's a switch hitter. He likes to crash the position. That's one thing. When he beat HD, and when he beat Howard Davis, he was crashed. He did to a lot of people. The last few fights, I've seen him utilize the crash. Boom. And then dirty box and separate crash. And that's demoralizing. Because when he crashes you, you stop moving forward and you tend to move backwards. And then you cover up and he hits you with like 18 hands, But Brian Duran is a different animal because when this guy moves forward, he's like the juggernaut. When he comes forward, he throws heat, overhands, left hooks. He has very heavy hands. I feel like he's a little more explosive with his hands. Great power. He's hungry as hell. But one thing I noticed is they both can fight moving backwards, but Kai is a little more dynamic with ways moving backwards. Duran, I saw when he fought, I forgot the guy he fought, but the guy backed him up and then dropped him. I'm not sure the guy's name is, but he got dropped in the fight because the guy met
Louis Lopez.
Louis Lopez dropped him, in the second round of their fight.
Yeah. So, but one thing is Kai is so offensive minded that I can see Duran punching with him, and that's when things get dangerous because if you're a volume guy and you have good decent power and you're throwing your shots, you're facing a guy that has the Deontay Wilder for the small guys, like the one equalizer, the eraser, and he throws that while you're punching, you're focused on your target and not your defense. And both men tend to do that. Both men are very offensive minded. Their defense could be better, but they're landing so many shots that they can afford to let up on the defense. I don't know. Honestly, like I can see Kai winning because Kai is he's young, fresh, but at the same time, when Duran said no, he's a Florida boy. I don't know. I think he's Cuban, but he's like a dog. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where he's from in Miami, but I saw an interview where he said that he has mouths to feed. He's doing this for his family. He's willing to kill. You know what I'm saying for this. And fighting for your kids and your family, man, is extra motivation. And that's one thing that, like, I'm a father. You know what I'm saying? And when you have to go out there and get that food and kill to get it, you'll go do it. I'm not saying Kai's no killer because Kai's a killer, but when you're facing a man that has to take care of his whole family and he's fighting at home, it's kind of like his back's against the wall, And I don't know. I think this is going to be a hell of a fight. I feel like it could end with Kai. Someone's getting stopped. I'm just not sure what round. I think if it's early, it's Duran. If it's later, it's Kai.
You like read my mind. I was going to ask you, do you think that the fact that Brian has 4 kids and, defected from Cuba with his parents and came over here on a boat and had to like come up through the streets of Miami and make it out of the gangbanging, like fucking troubled shit that he was in plays, a little extra on him in this. And you just answered that. I was going to ask you that question.
Well, I think it does. But at the same time, we cannot forget about Kai Stewart because we just don't know what he's overcome. Being a wrestler coming from Montana, y'all say Montana, I'm like, what's out there? Huh?
Yeah.
Like really, but the whole state might have like 75,000 people. So who did he beat to get his name out there? And most likely,
Uh-oh.
We'll
That's all right. We're here.
We'll get him back in a second. Yeah, I was wondering if it was my internet. He was starting to get choppy a little bit. Hey,
man. Okay.
He's
so
back.
One thing in Montana, like in wrestling, when I was coming up, if I had a guy from Montana, I'm like, that's a buy. That's easy work. They ain't got nobody to wrestle with. Or if you're a boxer, you need to fight somebody from Montana, but you got to lose to a guy from Montana? Really? So, like, he probably was overlooked and had to work his way to the top. He was probably brought in to lose by BKFC. Who knows? He probably brought him in and was like, okay, well, whoever wins this, we're going to keep. And he was like, hey, it's my opportunity to get out this bitch. I hate Montana, or let me rep Montana. And he probably threw it all on the line, you know? So both men have their struggles. I'm not gonna put one guy's struggle over the other because we all have different motivations. So it's gonna come down to skill and game plan and grit. And both men have plenty of grit.
Yeah, he reps Montana hard though. He doesn't hate Montana. He loves Montana. Those guys almost love Montana.
I can't hear you though.
You can't hear me? Mike, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. It might be because he left and came back that maybe he's
I can't hear you though. I can't hear you.
Can
you back out, come back in. Yeah, what I'm gonna do is
you're gonna text him.
Yeah,
he's backing out.
We'll have him have him jump back in here for a second. So King Mo is traveling right now. He's on the road, as you can see. He's in a hotel room. So we'll get him right back in here in just a moment.
He says, has he actually picked a winner yet? We haven't asked him to pick winners, really. He's here to say what each guy needs to do to win. I want to ask him when he comes back in. When Brian was on here, he was talking about working with his teammate who's also fighting on the card, Alberto Blas, about, challenging a wrestler. Here we go. He's back. I'm going to ask him this.
All right, I'm back. My bad.
All right, Mo, I got a question for you. Last week, we had Brian Duran on. We also had Kai on and talked to both guys. Brian talked about preparing for the smothering style of Kai, the wrestler, the gritty wrestler, and Kai. You brought up earlier a good point. Brian has been working with Alberto Blas. They're both in fight camp. They're both teammates. Alberto being the freestyle wrestler from Cuba. Do you think anything about that? The fact that he's working with Blas on the entries of Kai Stewart compared to what Kai being the collegiate wrestler that he is, you think maybe they're not, maybe they could be training wrong for this?
Well, the entry might be okay, but the difference between Blas and Kai is Blas is far more efficient because Cuban wrestlers and Cuban boxers are efficient with everything they do. They don't waste energy. Where in America, we tend to waste energy. We'll go over top. We'll run 80 miles to train for a 100-meter dash. You know what I'm saying? I think that Kai's pace will, like the pace, and he'll keep on trying. Even if it's half-assed, he'll keep going and keep trying. Where Blas is like, I'm more seasoned. I'm not going to waste my energy doing this. Kai will. Kai will empty out the tank trying to implement his game plan. And I'm not sure if Brian's ready for that. But at the same time, I'm not sure if Kai's ready for Brian's power. We will see.
Go ahead, Mike.
So in the comments right now, people are asking, you did pick Jomi for the first fight we talked about. I don't think you quite picked the winner for the second one, so they're looking for that, and then a winner for this fight for the main event. They want to know, what does Mo think?
You know what? Okay, so for the Richardson Blas fight, I don't know who to go with. Blas is very impressive, but Richardson's a dog, and that style, if he can make it ugly and grind it out, he can win. If it's early, I got Blas. If it's late, I got the American Richardson. That's all I can give y'all.
One thing about
it's a toughie. It's a toughie.
One thing about that fight, though, I will say Keith does get hit, right? Keith does get hit in all of his in a couple of his fights. He's taken some shots, but he walks through them. I wonder if he tries to make it dirty and takes a shot from Blask, and then we get to actually see if Blas's power can stop him, because he does look pretty powerful when he throws.
Well, a lot of times it's not just that one shot; it could be a multiple of clean shots. It don't gotta be powerful; it's gotta be clean. So with guys like Richardson, Kai, you know what I'm saying? Like when you come forward, even Brian, when you come forward with high action, high volume, or with power and fighting the ugly, like inside fight, you're gonna get hit because you're right there to get hit. Jomi, on the other hand, is different because he's like, let me flirt the inside. No, jab, hook, jab. I'm close. No, jab. I'm close up, clinch, separate, jab. When you get close, he clinches you up. The referee breaks you. So that he makes a stop and start fight. Now I feel like if Block could do the same thing to Richardson and make it a stop and start fight where he stops him and smothers him, and then they break it and he picks him apart at a distance, and when he gets too close, he slows him down to underhook. Double underhooks and holds him close. He can win that fight, but if he can't do that, he's gonna be in for a long night. Now with Kai and Brian, I favor Kai a little bit more because he's a champion, he's confident, he's young, but Brian's a dog. Brian has the great equalizer with his hands, that power. I feel like his release is a little more, I think it's a little more explosive in a sense. Like when he throws, he lets that shit go. And I feel like he's hungry.
I was just going to say to you that one thing from fight number 1 to fight number 6 with Brian Duran, he has shown, as the fight's gone on, he's fought better competition, and he has shown that he can go a couple rounds and he can take some damage and whatnot. But one thing that he has done from day 1 to day now is when he throws everything into those fucking shots. It blows my mind that how hard he sometimes he's coming out of his shoes with them damn things. When he misses, he misses bad, you know what I mean? But when he lands, he fucking hurts everybody.
And that's where Kai has to be careful because when you switch hit and you switch stances, it fucks your defense up. So anything big can catch you. If you move the wrong way, you might move into the shot. You never know. And with Brian, he's so low to the ground. When he throws, it's fast. It's like a fucking overhand, like a pitch. And but if Kai can clinch him up, pull his head down, get the underhook, and just keep crashing him and make the fight a start and stop fight, he can win off attrition. But if it's just a start and Brian, the juggernaut Duran, is moving forward, then it's gonna be a long night for Kai because Kai's gonna have a hard time crashing a guy who's a little shorter than him, and has a lower center of balance. I mean, center of gravity. So, with that one, I don't know. That's a close one, because I don't know who's gonna win that. I favor Kai, but at the same time, Duran got that power, and it could come any round.
Kai needs to make it out of the second, right? Then basically, make it out of the first 2 for Kai.
Maybe, because here's the thing: when you switch stances like that, you leave yourself open for counters. When you're switching, you're throwing, you're grabbing, you're switching. You can't be defensively responsible at all times, especially when you're switching stances like that. And then leave yourself open for counters. And at the same time, Brian can punch with Kai. You know what I'm saying? That's just like Warren and Oscar Boza. You got to punch with them.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say I'm really curious to see how Duran handles that smothering style of Kai Stewart, because like that is something, and we talk about it often. Like, there's nothing like a wrestler's onslaught of just grinding somebody out, especially against those metal pipes that they call ropes in this sport. Like, they're not really giving, they're not forgiving at all. So like you said, it's very demoralizing when someone just keeps getting pushed up against those, and maybe they're getting punched a few times on the way in. It doesn't have to be too strong. It's just a big smothering. It's a holding on to. And as we know, Duran does not have a whole lot of fight experience. He's been fighting BK only for 2 years, and that's it. Nothing before that. So it's
But you know
very,
what's more
very, very
demoralizing?
tough.
What's more demoralizing is when you're crashing and you're being effective, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you fall on the ground because the guy you're facing throws a big, nice shot you didn't see coming.
Yep.
And then you get back up and you get back to work. You're doing good. You're doing good. You're doing. Oh shit! What happened? What did he hit me with? You know, that's demoralizing too. So
Yeah.
it's a tale. It's a tale. You know, it's two battles, two different styles. It's gonna come down to who has the better game plan and conditioning. Because if both these men come in great shape, then it's gonna come down to game plan.
You know, for all you gambling addicts in the comment section that are just begging for, it seems like
They
he's
want
leaning.
that. They
He's
want
leaning
that.
Kai. He said it 5 fucking times. He's leaning Kai, but it could go either way. So there you go.
Yeah,
Take that.
That
put
shot
that in
comes
your,
from Duran and lands. It could be night.
Or- or don't
Yep.
bet on this
Good.
fight.
And that's why the
Good night,
matchmaking
Irene.
is so good.
Yeah.
Think about this. My bad, cut y'all off. The matchmaking is so good because a lot of times when you got, an even matchmaking, you can look at the card like win, easy, and go make your parlay and throw that shit in.
Yeah.
But this one is not easy because Escoboza Warren, not an easy fight to pick. It's a rematch. Blas Richardson, not an easy fight to pick. And then you got Stewart Duran, not an easy fight to pick.
No,
You know, so
not at all.
Look, it's a crapshoot, y'all. That's why it's called gambling. You're taking a risk. So go ahead and gamble on your own. Don't gamble on my word. All I'm doing is giving out information.
I don't need that on my
Providing out
conscience.
information, what I see.
That is good shit. King Mo, let me ask you this question here. What do you think about Brian Duran's hand conditioning? Have you seen these videos that he does? Have you seen it? Like hitting it with a sledgehammer and like watches TV at home, banging his hand off a fucking cinder block. And do you think he goes a little overboard with that? Or do you think, it's a necessary evil here?
You know what's funny? I met this guy from Cuba in Vegas named Leslie something. And Leslie had his whole class punching pipes and walls. And Leslie could just punch. Like he had like you know how those guys that kickboxing kick shit
With the
Yes.
shin,
much
yeah.
that they,
It's exactly what I was
Leslie's
gonna
hands
say.
were like he had like the Hellboy hands. Like he had his hands normal. He had a big ass callus over his knuckles from just punching shit, and it helps. You know, conditioning your hands means you can put a little more behind those punches without worrying about breaking the bitches.
I was watching, I rewatched all his fights, right, over the last day or two. And maybe I'm tripping, but I seriously feel like his hands are bigger. In the fight against Louis Lopez, it looked like Brian's mitts were a little bigger. And I was like, man, maybe his hands are just fucking so calloused up and like they're just turning into big clubs, man.
Yeah,
It's
that's what I was gonna say. Clubs, just giant clubs.
throwing cinder blocks for sure. It's crazy. It's a hell of an. Are you going to be watching the fights tomorrow night, King Mo? Before we let you go, or
Yeah,
or
I'll be watching. I'll be watching them. Of course, I'm gonna watch them.
oh,
I
so
thought for sure you would be there, but it looks like you won't be there.
I wish I could because I could. You know, we could have there was some big things popping if I was there, but I'm not gonna be there. So maybe next week.
maybe next week. All right. Well,
How about this? You know that BKFC is putting on a really, really crazy card, a fun and crazy event in Sturgis. Did you hear about this? Beginning of April, they're holding a bare
Beginning
knuckle
of
fighting
August.
event. August. I'm sorry. What did I say?
April.
April. So they're putting it on in August, and it's going to be headlined by Britton Hart, who's a 115-pound champion against Taylor Starling. So let's not pretend they're not two very good-looking girls that know how to beat the shit out of each other. So I know bikers are going to be into that, but they've added 3 heavyweight bare knuckle fights to this card, as well as a few other bangers. It's going to be pretty crazy. You think you're going to make it over there to Sturgis in South Dakota?
Man, I don't know about Sturgis, man. That I'm not into bike riding and that shit. That's just not my type of how do I say it? Like those people aren't for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're tough, but I wouldn't blend in. I wouldn't fit in. I'd be like a fly in the milk, If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know who's on that card? I don't know if you saw this, but the first time we talked to you about Bare Knuckle fighting, you mentioned some veterans that have been there, blah blah, blah, and you were like, this guy, this guy, this guy. You said Josh Burns. Burns is making his return. He's making his return against Shoemaker.
Yo, Shoemaker got them hands, but when they fought last time, Burns got that equalizer too.
Oh yeah.
And he is no joke. He's a tough motherfucker, man. Like I fuck with both fighters. Josh Burns a little more, but I respect Shoemaker's skills. He fought Dmitry Kudryashov, which he had some big nuts doing that because Dmitry got them hands. He fought the Super 8, the Cruiserweight Super 8 years ago. And he lost, I think he lost to Yanir Dordikos in the semifinals or quarterfinals of that tournament.
You know, Shoemaker was on BKFC 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This dude was a staple in there in the beginning of this company. Like he was on the first 5 events, and then he kind of disappeared. He went on a short little losing streak, but the losing streak, if I remember correctly, were Joey Beltran, Josh Burns, and Mick Terrell. Right? Those were the 3 losses. Those guys are all fucking studs, man. It's not like he went out on a 3-fight losing streak against bums. So I'm glad to see Sam back. I did a video, I don't know, 6 months back, just saying like, where the hell is Sam Shoemaker? And finally, here he is, man. Stone Mason out of the Ozarks. Here he is.
Hillbilly Hammer, is that his name?
The Hillbilly Hammer. Yeah.
Hillbilly Hammer.
Yeah.
I
like
absolutely.
Watching him fight. He got skills.
A couple questions in the comment section here, and I don't remember who asked it. It was a little bit back. Any news on Seth? Is he going to be making a comeback anytime soon? You know,
just waiting. I hope so. I know he was dealing with some injuries, but I think he's healed up. But it's up to Duck Dynasty, aka Jay, to figure out.
And before we let you go, what about you, man? Are you still itching to get in there, toe the line? You're gonna be watching BKFC 62 tomorrow night, thinking I should be doing that shit or what?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I might toe the line. Who knows? I might. I'm just watching, and I'm enjoying it, and I kind of I got the itch still. I got calamine lotion on and shit. Trying to calm the itch down, but it's not working.
That calamine lotion, baby. Oh yeah. It's been a long time since I had that calamine lotion.
There it is. Well, hey, King Mo, thank you for coming on and dropping knowledge. People in the comments section is like, this guy knows more than you guys have forgotten. I believe that is true. Yes. You're super knowledgeable, and thanks for your input on these 3 huge title fights tomorrow night. So we'll be watching right along with you. We're not in Miami either. I wish we could be there, but you want to plug anything before you go?
Hey, brawl till you fall. You know what I'm saying? Turf House Farms, American Top Team, Live Train. Thiago Alves, what's up? Everybody out there doing something positive. But yeah, that's about it. And shout out to y'all for having me on, man.
Oh,
thank y'all for having me.
Absolutely. Oh, wait. And real quick, is Mike Perry going to beat Jake Paul, or is Jake Paul going to beat Mike Perry? What initial thought? Who you think wins that? Before you go,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Mike Perry's tough as hell, but I think there's a setup in a sense because like you have to realize this, right? So what Jake Paul's doing is smart because he's fighting boxing a guy that has comes from a boxing, not a sport that implements boxing. So imagine if Usain Bolt was like, you know what? I'm going to be the best swimmer I can ever be. And he challenges a person that played football, because in football they run, beats him. He challenges a person that played baseball, because baseball they run, beats him. Then he challenges a person that ran the the marathon, beats them. Then as he challenges a person that used to swim like water polo, but been retired for 8 years. That's like, it's not like he's really fighting boxers. With that being said, Mike Perry he's tough. He can make the ugly fight. If he can get past the initial 2 or 3 rounds, I think he can win. But at the same time, there's a huge size difference between the two.
Yeah.
I mean, huge size difference. weight difference, reach difference, boxing experience difference because Jake Paul been training in Vegas with people I know. Kevin Newman, the second coming, Jay Leon Love, and he moved to Puerto Rico with Jay Leon Love and other people. So he has boxing around him. So Mike Perry's doing bare knuckle fighting, bare knuckle boxing, but it's different because you can clinch and throw uppercuts. In boxing, the moment you clinch, they break it.
Man, it's you mentioned the size difference. That's one thing that jumps right off the page to me. Like Paul's huge right now. He's walking around 230 pounds, and Mike fights at 185, but I think the biggest he gets when he's walking around not on weight is 200, if that. Right, a little less than 200 pounds. So
like Woodley, like all the other guys that, like the only time Paul has lost is when he fought a boxer, Tommy Fury. Everybody else was an MMA fighter or a basketball player. So like they're at a disadvantage because, like, for instance, Tyron Woodley has power, has a good right hand, but those right hands are set up off of takedowns. So you take the takedowns away, then you're just throwing a big overhand, jab right hand, jab right hook, jab straight. Well, when you're facing a guy that's been in there boxing for a while, that's not enough to beat him. And you get the size advantage too. So
yeah, for the sake of our sport, for BKFC, which we cover religiously, I hope Mike wins. But I think it's going to be a lot tougher than people think. I think a lot of people, especially the Mike Perry fans out there that are loyal, very loyal fans, they think he's just going to walk through them and murder them. But I don't know, man. Jake Paul's getting better. He gets better every time out there. Like you said, he's training with the right people. He has nothing but money and time to train, and he's bigger than ever. So we'll see. We will see. Mike, you got anything else for King Mo before we let him go?
Hey, thank you so much for coming on. Can't wait to do this again. Hopefully we hear some news about you coming in at some point. I was picking up what you were putting down there, but hey, until we see it, we can't believe it, right? But I have high hopes for this. As far as Jake Paul, I do think that Jake Paul will probably take this fight. I just, and it's nothing against Perry, but like you said, he's doing this very smart and he's good. People like to hate on Jake Paul, but he's been doing very good for who he is when he started. The amount of time that he's been doing this is very impressive. So I do respect what he's doing, especially for the sport of boxing. So, but thank you for coming on. We'll do this again very soon. Everybody, stay tuned. We will be right back. Take it easy.
Later, Mo.
King Mo.
Well, if you he was leaning Jomi, he was leaning Keith, he was leaning Kai, right?
Yeah.
That was what you got right there. Thank you so much to King Mo Lawal for coming on. As always, the dude is super knowledgeable. He knows so much about everything, dude. He
knows.
Sam Shoemaker. You just name.
Yeah. The Hillbilly Hammer, baby.
Throw out Sam Shoemaker, and he's like, "Oh yeah, he fought Dimitri, blah blah blah, and this thing who's got them hands." Like, I'm like, man, he really does know everything about everything. It's kind of crazy. So I gotta agree with him on both. On most. The first one, like honestly, Mike, I went back and watched the Jomi Jared.
I watched it today too.
It is such a close fight. It is,
and it rewinding it and rewinding.
Yeah,
it's
that second, the second round. The best round of the fight for either fighter was round 3 for Jared. Jared was landing powerful shots on Jomi, which is weird because Jomi does not cut, does not swell. Dude, he was
he was hitting him and he was bouncing around.
It was crazy. Yeah. Like Jomi showed no damage. Like, good on him, man. That motherfucker's got a leather face.
He was getting moved around the ring by being hit, but he wasn't really showing the damage, which was kind of odd, right? Like he was getting hit, and I'm watching it going, "Oh my god, holy shit!" And his body's like going back and forth and shit. He's getting pushed backwards, losing his balance.
And Jared,
but he wasn't really showing it.
Yeah, Jared looked good in the first round. It was closer, but I thought Jared pretty clearly won the first round. I think he completely won the third round. And I do think Jomi clearly took the fourth and did more than Jared in the fifth. So what it came down to was that second. Very tough, close fight tomorrow between those two guys for that vacant title. I don't know, man. Like, I would never tell anybody to put their money on anyone in any of these three fights, to be honest with you, because like Mo just said, the matchmaking on these three is solid work. It's solid. Like, it's a crapshoot on all three of them.
Man, this we're not picking fighters, man. We don't pick. But here's the thing. You know, this card is absolutely phenomenal from top to bottom for the bare knuckle fighting championship. Sorry, bare knuckle fighting championship fan. It's just unbelievable. You know, the fights all the way up, and a lot of people aren't talking about all of them. They're just because the three fights at the top are all championship fights. People are you want to go through them?
We don't have to spend a lot of time, but start with the first fight of the night, because first fight of the night, guys, Marcus Suarez, Merc Season versus David Simpson. I think that people forget what David Simpson has done in the BKFC. He's lost some fights, but dude, he went 5 rounds with Mundell, right? Was it Mundell finished him in the fifth? That was the fifth round, and they were cracking in that one. David Simpson can fight. He's a big boy and he's powerful, and that's the one that's going to start off the night. I know Merc Season has a lot of momentum with it, with his story, his background. It's in his hometown. Marcus Suarez is definitely a fan favorite, but I think that David Simpson is a big, powerful, experienced BKFC fighter that has fought some very tough competition and done pretty well. He may not have come out on the winning end, but like, dude, Dave Mundell, are you fucking kidding me? And he went rounds with Dave Mundell, trading shots. We were there that night, Mike. It was in Tampa, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It was in Tampa.
Well, I mean,
and then boom, Dave Mundell knocked him down, KO'd him pretty hard.
Yeah. Well, Dave Mundell does that to everyone.
He was hanging. Listen, it's going to be a good test for Suarez. I mean, yes, Simpson, his record might not reflect what he's been through here. Suarez has been doing pretty well, but I think this is a good test for Merc Season. It's going to be a good test. Merc Season gets through this, and I think he's ready to take another step up the ladder here. So,
yeah, it's you go up the line. Cedeno's a beast. I don't know much about Zuckerman, and I apologize for that.
Zuckerman too much.
What do they call the dude? Dirt to Gold? Is that
Dirt to Gold?
D2G.
Had a little bit of beef with Duran. Now he's going against Wanye.
But then you go up to the next one, and this is where all the fucking, I mean, nothing against those last two fights. This is where shit starts to get crazy. Perdomo loses his opponent. It's Steve Panda Banks. He had an accident last week. He called it a slip and fall. Basically, he fell, busted his eye. He shared a picture today. He had stitches over his eye, and the stitches won't come out until 2 days after this event's over. So unfortunately, he had to be pulled. Who do they bring in? The guy that most Montana people will tell you, Leo Bercier, is the guy that nobody wants to fuck with, right? He will take you outside, beat the fucking brakes off of you at the bar, and then bring you back in and buy you a drink. He's one of those guys. This one's a good one to start off. Perdomo's got a lot of heat, a lot of momentum going, knockout artist, but Bercier is as tough as they come. What do you think, dude?
Perdomo's on the up and up right now. The guy has great movement, knockout power. I mean, shit. I mean, a lot of these guys at this level do. But I am super. I like this fight better than the other one. I like Leo. I think he's a strong, tough guy. He comes forward. He loves to fight. You could just tell it's like in his heart. He's just one of those guys that just loves to get in there and bang. Um, I think Bercier. Listen, Bercier. He's undefeated, is he not? Listen. Oh no, he's 4-1.
Well,
Okay, but here's the thing, right? This guy's top 5 material, in my opinion.
how can you forget about the Leo?
Leo Pla. That was a good, yeah. And that's the thing. Like he's that even proves like this guy is a serious contender. And I always think like, hey, where is this guy in the top 5? He belongs in there. But him and Perdomo is the perfect fight for like that threshold fight, to the top 5. Like they're right, they're right there. They're both of them are right at the top 5, 6, 4, 5, 6 area. I can't wait to see this. This fight is awesome.
Absolutely. You go up, dude. Thuggy Bear's back. And Plaziola is a fucking monster at that featherweight. Dude, this guy is built like a friggin' middleweight at 145 pounds. I just don't understand how he's a 145 pounder. If you see him in person, he is a big featherweight. And we've seen him. He has power in both hands. He can take shots and come back from them. We saw it in the Chevy Bridges fight. Plaziola is dangerous. Thuggy Bear is dangerous as well. Training with his brother. The Dotson brothers are down there in Miami together. Man, I cannot believe that this is the second fight on the card. Fucking awesome.
That's what I'm saying. How often has anybody even really brought up this fight at all? Like, I know people who are diehard BKFC fans know who Plaziola is. They saw what he did to Chevy Bridges. They've seen his fights, his knockout power, how tough he is. The guy, I feel like he had this huge hiatus for after that fight too. Like we didn't see him forever after that Chevy Bridges fight. But then you got Dodson on the other hand, came in, did well, ended up fighting Roberto Armas, who took the fight on short notice, comes in and actually beats Dodson, made Dodson like, oh shit, what the hell just happened here? You know what I mean? And
Did
then
you say
Dodson
he has a hyannis? Is that what you said?
Hyannis. And then he comes back and wins a couple fights, right? Let's see. Let's scroll down and make sure I'm right about this. But he comes back, he wins. Okay, so he won against Dakota High Pine, and he's coming in here. He needs to get back, on a little bit of a streak here because he was starting off so well, and Roberto Almas kind of put him in his place a little bit. But who's even been talking about this? I barely hear anybody even mentioning that this fight's happening. It's just the whole card is kind of overshadowed by the top 3 title fights that you look at the rest of the card and you're like, holy shit, this fucking card is stacked like hell. I can't even believe the fights that are on this card because watch this.
Well, Chris Garcia. He's fighting Mike Livingston, who we've only seen once, and he fought Kerry Caprio. So this one here, we've kind of seen and know what Garcia's about. Let's see if Livingston can bounce back and get a win against a 3-0 guy. But that one's tough. This one here, Albert Inclon, G Perez. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? There's another one that it's not getting talked too much about. G gets a lot of burn because, he's a fan favorite and he is the cut man. So he made it onto the stage at the press conference. But Inclon can fight. He's a dog, dude. He's a tough ass kid that's getting better. We saw him shock everybody against Devin Gibson last year when everyone thought that Devin Gibson was going to be the man to make a title run at 125 pounds down in Myrtle Beach. Albert Inclon steps in there and smacks him around. We were like, what the hell? Unbelievable. And G, he's 3-1, but in his division, he's 3-0, right? He's 3-0 at flyweight. He's got the one loss at 165 damn pounds. G's a beast, man, coming back from injury. Thoughts on this one?
G would have won that fight if he didn't get injured. 100%, no doubt about it. He would have beat Bryce Hall. Even Bryce Hall admitted that he was going to lose that fight. If that kept going on, he was going to lose that fight. Period. And G Perez going up in weight. Albert Inclon. I actually this is another one. Inclon. he's always got a chip on his shoulder. However, I haven't really heard him talk too much shit about G. I just think they kind of respect each other. So it'll be nice to see Albert Incline going in there in a good, nice frame of mind, you know? Just
Listen, he has to win,
he's
right?
gotta win. Yes.
He loses this one. It's 2 losses in a row, and his record moves to 1-3. Like, you got to think that Albert Incline is fighting for his job, right? Like, he's fighting to stick around. He's exciting. He's a character. He can brawl, but he's not well known. You know what I mean? So, if he takes an L against G, he moves to 1-3, and it's going to be tough for him to get another one. So he's got to be coming in there with a big chip on his shoulder too.
Ta-da!
This one here, the toughest woman on the planet, right? Right.
Just lives to just punch and be punched. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I mean, she is about as violent as they come in both directions. She likes to dish it out, but she will take the violence and just eat it.
Just loves it.
Melanie Shaw, we're talking about, obviously. Christine Vicens is the one that
you went far in between. Like, you see her, she's tough,
right.
She fights well, but man, where the hell is she? She fell upon a little bit of bad luck recently, right? A little bit of bad luck.
She was supposed to fight someone that Melanie had already fought, Sydney Smith.
Mm-hmm.
In an unfortunate series of events down in Hollywood Hard Rock back in February.
Yep.
Sydney made way. They were at the arena. They were backstage in their fight gear. Sydney got sick, started throwing up. It was that event had some bad luck. Let's just put it that way. That
was one of those bad luck events.
Events. The Sydney Smith incident was just another thing on top of a series of unfortunate events that weekend. But it's great to see Christine back. She actually won the fan vote Rookie of the Year the first year we did awards here, right? She was the Rookie of the Year here. And we know how technical she is. We know how crisp she is with her boxing, and we know how Melanie can take a punch and keep coming forward. So awesome.
Cannot wait. As I've said for all those fights, that's like my quote. Cannot wait.
And then
we've talked to Ibarola already, so we know.
Yeah, we got Joy Boy in the house, but Slick Rick Caruso constantly taking home memorabilia from the Mike and Mish show, courtesy of Extreme BKFC fans page. But on top of that, he's also a tough son of a bitch in the BKFC squared circle. And this, even though Rick, click on Rick. What is he? 1-3 or 1-3. Doesn't have the most, he doesn't have a great record. Let's just be honest. But we know that Rick comes to fucking fight every single time. We know, like, Abby Velasquez is a fucking dog. Jack Claffey, he took that one on a couple days' notice, stepped in and gave him a fight in that one. And he's coming off in Ryan Reber. Of course, Ryan Reber is fucking undefeated at 6-0 or something. I think he's 6-0 now. Rick Caruso has had a tough series of opponents in his time with the BKFC. Goes out there, gets a win against Landon Williams, and now he gets a shot at, taking down a hype train they call Joy Boy. This one is a lot tougher than I think it looks on paper. You agree?
This is going to be a good old-fashioned beatdown right here. These guys, I'd be surprised if this makes it past the first round. Yeah, I think these two guys are going right at each other.
Yeah.
I really do. Rick Caruso's going to come out and fucking try to lay him out, and I don't think Joy Boy's going to back down. That's going to be I see them just slugging it out.
Yeah, this is tough. And like they do like Justin Ibarola, so like you could look at it as if they're trying to push the new guy, and they know that Rick will come out there and put on a fucking show with him. But like Mike said in the comments, he might. I don't know if he's fighting for a job because every one of his fights are entertaining as fuck, and he answers the call on short notice. So who knows? Two guys coming in there with one win and a couple losses that got something to fight for sure. And then the 3 title fights. This card's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, this is an awesome card, and it's tomorrow night. I can't even believe it's already here. I've just been waiting, and here we are. It is happening.
Yep. And Mike, you're back from a 2-week AT orders. You got work. Are you working tomorrow?
I still have a few days left. I'm still on orders, baby, right now.
So we got work
Allow
tomorrow.
me to do the Mike and Mish show on orders.
Next week, I will be in Japan, but guess what? We're going to have a show for you guys. And I won't tell you exactly how it's going to go yet, but Mike, we should tell them who we're talking to, right? Who these guys get to see us talk to next week. He is 22-1 in professional MMA. His one loss is to Patricky Pitbull when he lost the Bellator featherweight title. And that is it. 22-1, Mr. AJ McKee will be coming on the Mike and Mish show next episode. And you guys will get to hear AJ McKee give his thoughts on BKFC, his thoughts on Perry Paul. We're going to talk to him about Tank Davis against Frank Martin. We're going to get into all kinds of shit with AJ McKee, and I think it's pretty goddamn cool. What do you think of that, Mike?
Oh, it's super cool. As soon as I saw the email with them getting in touch with us and we're wanting to come on the show, I was like, dude, this is awesome. So cannot wait to talk to him. We will be airing that interview next week, so stay tuned to our page, and we will be putting that up.
Like, dude, I think people gotta understand that AJ McKee could go over to the UFC and make absolute waves in the featherweight division over there too. The dude is a fucking stud. It's going to be awesome. So we're looking forward to that. So make sure you're tuned in to BKFC 62 tomorrow night and work those parlays, guys. I wonder what people, where are you guys putting your money? Drop it in the comments. I'm going to look in the comment section tomorrow when I'm looking back into the comments. I want to get some betting advice from you fucking degenerates out there. So what do you think, Mike?
Yeah. Hey man, I got to get back to military duty in just about, I don't know, let's say 6-7 hours. So I think there's only one last thing to say. AJ McKee next week. Kyle goes to Japan with his family. The gang goes to Japan.
How do you say his name? Twan's asking which show. I'm guessing you're asking Wednesday or Thursday next week. Just keep an eye on our Instagram and our Facebook and stuff. We'll put an advertisement out for the AJ McKee episode. It'll be either Wednesday or Thursday. That's the best we can do for you guys. So
yeah, Kyle goes away to Japan. He's going to go to Japan. His son's going to
Japan
get
for
black belt.
Yeah, black belt.
Man, it's going to be crazy. So we're
going scuba diving,
and we will air it next week. So for everybody else, enjoy the fights tomorrow night. Thank you for tuning in to Mike and Mish this late. We do some late shows. We do know, but we appreciate you for hanging in there with us. And until next time, we say peace out.
Peace.